Hi guys, this video is going to be some quick and easy things that you can look at to determine whether you're compatible according to astrology. Over the years, I've had lots of people message me, and the number one question I get asked is, are we compatible? And usually people will give me their sun sign and the person that they're dating or they're interested in, their sun sign as well. And while that can be helpful, it is good to know the sun sign. It's good to know some other things as well. Compatibility within astrology, you can look into so many different parts of the birth chart, different types of charts, but I think if you're just starting out, or if perhaps you don't have somebody's birth time and that kind of information, these are a few things that you can look at past the sun sign to determine whether or not you're compatible with another person. Also, I do think that the relevancy of the sun is becoming less and less important as astrology becomes more popular, but I do want to say, just looking at the sun sign, you're not going to get the kind of information that you're looking for. You're not going to get enough of it from just looking at the sign that your sun is in and your partner's sun is in. But the sun is still useful, and I don't think it's something that should be completely ignored. It should be a part of a bigger picture. So let's say that the person you're interested in, maybe you're not officially dating, or maybe they just don't know it, but let's say that you don't have their birth time, okay? What are some quick and easy things that you can kind of look into? All you're going to need is their birthday and year, which most people will tell you their birthday, and everybody knows what year they were born, hopefully. So I think that information is a little bit easier to access than getting somebody's birth time and place, especially if this is somebody you're newly dating and you don't really know them that well, or you feel uncomfortable asking. So the planets we're going to focus on in this video is the sun, the moon maybe, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. You can look at the ascendant as well, but you will need the birth time in order to see what the person's ascendant is. So without the birth time, you also can't see the position of these planets and houses or anything like that, which is fine. We're just going to look at the planets and what sign they're in and compare them to each other. If you have somebody's birth date and time, all you have to do is look up online. You can put Venus on such and such a date. So for instance, if your birthday was like Christmas of last year, you could put Venus, December 25th, 2020, and it will show you where Venus was that day. The only thing that can be tricky with this is if the planet shifted into another sign on the day of their birth. So hopefully you just get lucky and you can at least see some of the planets. So you can know their sun sign. The moon is harder because it moves so quickly, but you might get lucky, so type it in, see what happens. I typically use Cafe Astrology to find planetary placements when I don't know somebody's birth time, so you can check that out. And it's a really easy way to do it. Again, just put in their birthday and you can look and see. Here, I'll put in an image here. So you can look and see where the planet was on that day of their birth, and that is the sign that their planet is in. So now you know their sign. Again, if it moved that day, you kind of just have to, you can take a guess, or you can just kind of look at the other planets instead.
I just wanted to clarify here that when you do use these websites, the date you'll see is the date that the planet changes into the new sign. So any dates after that and before the next change fall into having the planet be in that sign.
So you want to do this for, obviously sun sign is easy to find, but you want to try to do it for the moon. You might get lucky. Do it for Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So once you know the sign that each of the planets are in for both of you, now you can compare. And how do you know when you're comparing if you are compatible? For this video, we're going to keep it very simple. And one of the big things you want to look at is the elements, right? So you can look at, if your sign is in Aries, right? If your moon sign is in Aries and your partner's moon sign is in Leo, that's going to show some compatibility, right? If your Mercury is in Aquarius and your partner's Mercury is in Gemini, there's some compatibility. So you're going to look at that. Now, beyond just being in the same element, they can be incompatible elements. So you have air and fire, those are compatible elements, and water and earth, also compatible elements. So the reason that those elements are compatible is because fire and air signs are considered active, or an old school term that people don't really use as much anymore, they are considered masculine signs, whereas water and earth signs are considered receptive signs, or again, old school term, but feminine signs. So they tend to be more compatible with each other, whereas a water sign with a fire sign, it's a little more challenging. I'm not saying that it can't work, I'm just saying it's a bit more challenging. Same goes with like an air and an earth sign. So let's go through each of the planets and see like kind of how they're important. So when you look at the sun placements to see if you're compatible, you're looking at the foundation of each of your personalities. You're looking at what drives you. You're looking at what everything else builds upon. And it shows that foundation of energy for your personality and you as a person. Now, when you look at moon sign, moon is all about how you react to things emotionally. It's your intuitive side, it's your nurturing side, and again, big play on emotions. Like, how are you guys going to handle each other in an argument, for instance? Moon might come into that. If somebody tends to be more emotional than the other, is that going to work out? Then you want to look at Mercury, and Mercury is all about how you communicate. Mercury is very important in compatibility, and I do feel like it's not touched upon enough. But Mercury, very important. So for instance, I look at tons of like celebrity couple charts, and a lot of times you will see either like the moon or Mercury or Venus, like at least one of those, there is usually a sign, they both have a sign in the same element. I've been studying a lot of these charts for a while now, and I definitely have noticed this trend. It's not always the sun sign, a lot of times it's not. But most times you will see either Mercury, Venus, or the moon in the same element. So I'm not even talking about compatible elements, I'm talking in the same element. So if you have one of those three, that's definitely gonna show you that there's some compatibility there. But again, back to Mercury, that shows how you communicate with each other. Like, how do you guys carry on conversations? How do you guys relate to one another on that level, on an intellectual level, and just your day-to-day communication styles? So now we look at Venus, and Venus is obviously important because it has a lot to do with how you show affection, you know, your style of love, so to speak. So again, look and see, you know, is yours in Scorpio? Is your partner's in Cancer? Well, you guys are going to be fairly similar in how you display your styles of affection because you have that water element. Now, is yours in fire and your partner's is in water? I mean, it could work, and I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying it could be a little bit more challenging. There could be more tension there, or it could just feel like you guys don't really feel like you're on the same page. Like, you want one thing, they want another, and you're kind of like, you can't really get on that same page. Now, say your Venuses are not compatible, right? Your Venus placements, but your Mercury placements are. Well, that's good. That shows that you guys know how to communicate with each other. And maybe, you know, if you're not showing your affections in similar styles or ways that work for one another because there's an incompatibility there, well, look at your Mercury. You guys are able to communicate that perhaps, and maybe you can talk about it and figure out a solution that works for you. So just because one planet might show an incompatibility, you have to consider everything else. And there's a lot that goes beyond this as well, but I'm trying to keep it fairly simple. So Mars is going to show you how you each go about getting what you want. It's how you both take action. It's your passion style. It is your style of intimacy. So it's obviously very important in a relationship, and you want to look at that as well. So that's just a few things you can look at for some quick and easy compatibility. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and like and subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Have a good day or night.